Good evening and welcome to another stream with Fluars, and today we are in Dune Awakening, continuing the story of building this new solo epic base in Haga Basin. Today we are going to be doing quite a lot of mining and gathering of metal and spice and all things nice. Hey, do you like the rhyme? But yeah, we'll be carrying on with where we left off. Welcome to everyone. Again, this is our first stream in this game since we are now live across all platforms that we pretty much do social media on, with only like really a couple of exceptions that you just basically can't do live streaming too. But we are now live across YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X and Facebook. So welcome to everyone. If you have any questions, then please do feel free to ask in chat. The chat is only currently available on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. So if you are on X and Facebook at the moment, you will need to jump on one of the other platforms if you have any questions. Either that or you can leave it in the comments and I will answer those questions after the stream. But unfortunately, I don't actually have the setup currently to enable you guys to join in the conversation. However, it is something I will be changing over the weekend, assuming I get enough time, because I do have another solution that will allow those two other chats to actually join the stream live on the chat as well. So down the line we'll have additional stuff, but at the moment we are kind of only facilitating 4 of the chats. So if you are looking to chat or ask any questions and you want them answered live on the stream, then please do use one of the actual platforms that I mentioned, which is YouTube, Twitch, TikTok and Kick. So I've started off my generator. What we'll do is we'll get something cooking. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put the water on. That's something I need to do. I'm trying to think what I need to put on, but probably water. I always need water. How much water do we have? Yeah, we're not anywhere near full, so that's cool. Let's get this on. One body process. No, we'll get this one on as well. I have already processed all the metal I think I have in the base at the moment, so when we go to the deep desert in a second, we'll literally be getting all of our stuff that we will be needing for putting into production at some point. I don't know when. It really depends on when I bring the container back, and it's probably not going to be coming back until Sunday, but there's a slight possibility, like if we fill up the container full of resources, that we can bring it home earlier. It just really depends how fast we fill up. But at the moment, based on how fast we filled up last week, which I didn't completely fill it last week, but to be fair, I didn't spend quite as much time in the game as I was hoping to, mainly because of the issues that there were on the server that I'm currently playing on. But I am looking to change servers soon-ish. Once I've got all the core materials to finish this base, then I will be moving to a busier server. The only reason why I don't want to move just yet is because when I do move to a more busy server, the deep desert is obviously going to be more dangerous. So I may as well utilise the safety that I currently have on a dead server to just get the final pieces I need before I make the move. But we will be moving to more busier servers so that we can actually have some PvP and a bit more fun and interaction with other players. We're also going to meet up with some of the people who are also members of the stream. So, or I say members, viewers of the stream, who are going to be participants of the stream going forward. But yeah, we'll obviously get to that when we get to that. I don't think I've got anything here that, well, delirium. Oh wait, I'm in power, so we'll leave that off. You can actually put 308. Well, actually, why not do the delirium? Actually, let's go and turn off one of our water sources, and we can get the metal refining. Because while the water is important, and I'll always keep turning these on while I'm here, because these are great to have when you're trying to make quick water. But if you're making slow water and stuff, then we use like air cap or wind captures to effectively make our water, which is more effective over the long term because it will just slowly make water at a cheaper rate. But you do that over the fact that it takes much longer to generate the water, which is what I normally make sure that I have enough cover for that kind of passive water while I'm offline, so that the base is kind of slowly generating it or building up the water supply. So I'll turn this on, we'll get this going. I might just do that delirium as well, because I do need delirium. I need the delirium effectively, so that was going to take probably almost 2 hours to do that, so that's fine. That's pretty much the stream. But what I need the delirium for is I need the delirium for making these here, which are the filters, and these filters are what we use to do the water capture over time. So before we log off, we'll put some more new filters into our wind captures and get them on the go. So everything's pretty much sorted here. It's like not much to do. So yeah, we've just set up, and now we're gonna head off into deep desert and go get ourselves as much spice and as much titanium and strontium as we can, because that's what effectively makes the platinum ingots and what we also need for spice melange. I have actually, let's drop one. I actually already have something in my ship recovery tool, because I always carry a spare one depending on what I'm out in, but that's because I was out in this the other day, so I always carry a spare one just in case something goes wrong. I think I have one fuel cell. Actually, that's one thing I do need to make before we do leave. I do need to make a load of fuel cells, because while we're out there, I don't have any building facilities to actually make stuff, so I need to make sure that we've got plenty of water and also fuel cells, so that we can recharge our vehicles easy enough while we're out there. Water, I think I have another container for water. I'm just trying to think where it is. I think I might have left it in any of these boxes, if I'm honest, but I was hoping it might be that one. It's not that one. It could be this one over here. There's two boxes where I've kind of got random like clothing and this type of rubbish. It's not rubbish, but it's sort of rubbish. I'll take that and fill that full of water. I won't take these because they don't actually hold that much. Won't be that useful, but we'll take the other one and just fill up. Cleaners. And then we'll just make some. Just have to turn off one of these a second and turn it back on before we leave. I just need to make some fuel cells. Assuming I actually have some fuel cells he's going to be able to pull from, but I might not. I might have to go and grab some from one of the generators. Go and grab some. So take 80. So if we get 240. That should allow it to make 3 large fuel cells. That'll be pretty much last us all of this stream, and probably I would say most of the time that we're in deep desert. The big fuel cells, generally the only thing that will deplete a whole big fuel cell is place. That's where I'd normally go to when I place the fuel cells in a container somewhere. I usually go to that master control unit just so that I can actually distribute all the fuel cells out to everything that I have held in the base. It's just a fast way of filling everything up. However, if I actually want to empty any of them, I need to go to where everything is, and it's actually underneath this. So yeah, still got one more big water container to fill up. Expecting more to be in that. They all only that empty. Or is that? Oh, actually, no, they're quite full. I don't know why I was expecting all of these to be absolutely full with it. Yeah, that max there shows you just how much it can actually hold. I probably just want to take 100 from each of them. At the moment, like when they're fully open, or when they're fully filled up, they hold 22 days of energy. So I'm obviously going to bring back a ton of fuel cells back from the deep desert when I bring back the big storage container. So taking 100 out of this isn't, it's still going to have more than 2 weeks worth of fuel in it, even if I didn't fill them back up. But I will fill them back up once I bring the big fuel container back. I think that'll do, because we're about to make at least 3 big fuel cells. We've already got 1 on us. I thought I had actually 2 on me, but it's fine. 3's enough. On, get these cooking, which shouldn't take too long. Insufficient resources. Is that because I've got the wrong thing? It normally says this when it's full, so I've got a feeling the container that's going to. What container is that going to? Output circuit 6. I think I know which box that is. It's only a small box. I do need to change it, I think, to one of the big boxes. Yeah, it's this one. I probably need to change this to a different one. So let's change it to... I think this one's not used. That one is used. That's not used, so input circuit 6. Now it should allow us to output. I'm surprised it didn't actually let us, well, it didn't just like allow it to resume, because we actually did make titanium, or did put in the actual plastatium ingot in, which actually would have used up a load of the strontium that had been processed, which goes into that input 6, which means that if we'd used stuff from it, there should be space in it. So I'm not sure why, and there is, and there's no strontium in it, so I don't know why it's complaining. Maybe it just didn't quite understand that the box now had space in it. Okay, that's our 3 containers. So that's all we need. We'll let all that stuff continue. Actually, I'll just turn that off, because, or should I leave it on? I don't know what's more important, water or this running while we're not here. That's how much is actually going. 146 will take 20, yeah, well 10 off. If that was running for a longer period of time, I'd have said let's do that, let's switch it around, but that's not. It's running for a short period of time in the water and water take, so I can probably run that while I'm not streaming, but also not requiring well, not in as need. I'm always in need of water, which is why I'll always prioritize water if it's going to take less time. But the whole idea is that we'll be able to get another big power unit running so that we don't have to keep switching around with power, which at the moment I still need to do a little bit. Not as much as I used to, but still need to do it. But plan will be that eventually won't need to do that because we'll have enough power, but I need to get some of the advanced like I can't know what it's called. There's some advanced machinery parts, I think it's called. We need a load of those, and you can only get them for the Deep Desert, and you can generally now the only place that I can actually get hold of them easy enough is actually through doing like hunting. So anyway, I could describe it. You effectively go around in the Deep Desert and you try and find a marker, which you need to do, scan the desert sand, and in the desert sand you'll find sometimes a marker that suggests that there's something buried treasure there. So some people call it treasure hunting. And effectively what you're doing is you're kind of doing like metal detecting in the sand. You're trying to find stuff that's been like dropped and left behind from wrecks or things that have been dropped from ships. And effectively in that you have a chance, I found, when you're near the very large spice fields, for you to find these complex parts. Now I've done a load of other ways of doing it in the past, and you do sometimes also get them from downed ships, but I've done it before where I've done 10 downed ships and not even got one. And the thing is with it is you'll get a big drop in one go, so you'll get 30 units, but it may take you a lot of wrecks to get through. And I'm not sure if they've actually changed the drop ratios of them from the downed ships, but they do seem to be a lot harder than they used to be able to get hold of. So I found now that the most regular, easiest way to get hold of them is literally doing treasure hunting near the big actual spice fields. And I actually got that from some people in the community who were suggesting it as a way of, that they had found that if you went near the actual big spice fields and you started doing treasure hunting near there, you could get them, or you had a good chance of getting them. And I found that to be true the last time I did it. So now it's my go-to, because the only other way of doing it would be to go into the Deep Desert testing stations, and not the ones where I am now, where I'm on the wall, but the ones deep into the PvP areas. And apparently if you do those, you have also a good chance of you should be able to get them from the last loot room. But those testing stations aren't generally made for solo players to go into. Like, they are very hard. The NPCs in there will absolutely beat the hell out of you if you don't have good gear and stuff. So I'd rather do something that was like a little bit easier and still challenging than something that's like potentially going to kill me tons of times, and I might not even still get to the end of the loot room because it'll take that long, because even when you're doing it as a group, it's challenging. If you're doing it as a solo, you can do it, but it's not exactly the most time effective way of doing it. So this is kind of like why I'm leaning towards just doing it the way I am going to do it, which is to go into the Deep Desert and effectively do some treasure hunting near the big spice fields. So we'll leave the water in there. That'll be our backup water. Got water on us. We've got a little bit of wire. We can make more of that because you don't need a fabricator with us to make that stuff. So we've got everything we really need. I think the first thing we'll do is I'll do a metal run because yeah. Effectively, like, I try and do the metal run at least once at the very start and once at the very end of my online stuff, just because you can never have enough of it, and you'll have to do many runs of these, and there is a cooldown from when the actual nodes actually respawn. So they're about 45 minutes from the point when they were last hit to the point when they'll respawn, so you can do it again, which is why I tend to try and spread it out, so that when I come in first, I'll do one run, go away, go do some spice harvesting and stuff, or hunting, and then I'll come back and do another run, and just keep rinse and repeat that, because this is the graft that you have to do to get all of like the top gear, well, you know, resources to make the top gear. And as you can see, it's quite dark at the moment because it's in the evening, so it's my less favourable time of actually having to do this, because you have to be a little bit more attentive to see what's around with the nodes, because it is darker, so it's much easier to miss what's going on. Let's just give it that fuel. Got to 100%. Yeah, so we need the two things I'm after on this particular run are strattium nodes and titanium nodes. And normally, as long as no one else has run this, which is always possible, we should start seeing some nodes where we are, although I've not seen one yet, so it might be that someone has actually already run or done a cycle. Like, I did turn around and say, like, no one is on my server. There are people on my server, but you see them very far and few between. But so far, the fact I've not seen one node would suggest to me that someone is active and they've literally done a run ahead of me. So I think we might just have to go and do some spice mining. If I go up here and I don't see anything, oh, that's a strattium node. Off. Promising, although potentially not. It could be just that everyone was after titanium, so, or they missed that one node. As you can see, I do this in a buggy, and there is a lot of reasons behind this. Firstly, it's the most efficient way of actually doing it, both from like carrying it, but also from the fact that the actual cutting array that's on a buggy, when you get to the tier 6 or advanced tier 6, there is no better cutting array, so the efficiency from this is the best you can probably get, even though it says there efficiency poor in brackets. Ignore that, because it is like the best efficiency you're going to get. It'll even say that when I go in, like if I was to try and like tackle one of those like battery nodes there, it would still say it to that. Unfortunately, it's just, unless you're doing very low tier stuff, or if I did, because I've got a tier 6 cutting array, so I don't have the advanced one, or at least I haven't made it yet. I actually do have a blueprint for it, but because I built this one before I found that, I decided that I was going to wear this one out before I built that one, because it would just be a waste of resources. And this does actually do like ridiculous amounts per node. If you look at batteries, if you were to like use a normal cutting array that you hold in your hands, even the top tier one, you're not going to get as much as 760 batteries from one cell, and that's just like the batteries. All of the nodes that you hit with the buggy cutting array is just far better than what you're going to get from what you would get from the same cutting array tier in kind of like the handheld versions. So that's kind of like why I go around in the buggy. I used to be of the opinion where I can't see the point in going around the buggy, like, and that was purely because I was like, at the time I didn't have the option, like, because where my base has always been there since I got out of the starter zone. I've always had my base where it is now, but at first I didn't have a ornithopter, so I actually had to kind of go everywhere on my bike, and I didn't have a buggy until quite late, and everyone kept going on about, oh, you need the buggy to like do all the line and that, and I was just like, oh, it's overpriced, you know, I can just do it on my bike, I'm happy with that. But then when you actually do get a buggy and you put a cutting array on it, you realise that the actual ratios of what you get per node are just far better, and time is money and all that type of stuff if you think about it in a GTA terms. So when it comes to doing Awakening, obviously you don't want to be like just having to go around more nodes than you need to, and obviously there are only so many nodes as well, even on the walls. So it actually just makes more sense to do it in a buggy. And I actually I still see people now, they will go around in even an assault ornithopter, because the assault ornithopter now does carry more, still not anywhere near as much as a buggy, but still does carry more, and effectively do all of their stuff with a handheld one. And I don't quite like get that, although I can maybe understand, maybe they don't want to dismantle a buggy if they don't have the carrier, because I don't really want to dismantle my buggy all the time, just because you can make a, say, tier 1 welder, which allows you then to take like your buggy apart without wrecking a high tier welder. And that's kind of like what I generally do when I'm forced to doing it, but I don't really want to have to like do that, because it is actually time consuming. It does take longer to actually use the tier 1 welder. So what I do tend to do is nowadays I will normally put the base into the buggy and leave the buggy behind at the very end, and keep the stuff in the buggy. And then, because I don't generally use or need the buggy now in Hacker Basin, I just kind of obviously take it back to Hacker Basin when we have the Coriolanus event, but I don't generally use it whilst it back is in Hacker Basin, just because my base is actually that close to NPCs, and because I'm obviously striding over like the valley that I'm in, I don't find I actually need the buggy in anymore. And I actually tend to just if I'm going to use anything, because I always carry around a scout ornithopter in my back pocket, I generally just kill everything where I am, pop out the scout ornithopter, and then chuck all the bodies in it, and then quickly fly the like less than 10 yards to the base, where I can then move everything from where like I've got stuff out to into the actual base containers and stuff. So it's pretty like easy and efficient the way I kind of do it. But yeah, it does mean I don't require the buggy so much there anymore, because again, there are no really resources I really need in there, apart from, and there is an exception to this, and that is well, actually there's a couple of exceptions, but the main exception is the stuff that I need to make Colbert paste. Now that stuff's left in the Venerius gap, and within that area there are nodes there where you can get a material that effectively allows you to make the Colbert paste once you obviously bring it back and process it and stuff. The other thing I could use the buggy for in Hager Basin is another material I require to make delirium. However, the thing is with that is it's actually in a radiated zone, and you can't exactly take a buggy there very easily. Like I could take it like my carrier there, but it would use up a lot of fuel to try and move it around through all the little kind of islands. Now I haven't tried it, and I reckon you probably can just run from each island to another island. You have to bear in mind that where it all is it's in a radiated zone, so that's one problem. But the other problem you also have is it's obviously on islands, which means that you've also got sandworms you have to be aware of. So you're going to have to run from one island to the other and dodge the sandworms, which wouldn't be so hard. But then when you've also got to think about where your radiation is at, and also get out of the radiation zone so that you can drop the radiation that's building up on your kind of character. It becomes a bit more tricky. So that's the main reason why I haven't tried it in a buggy, although I think it's easily doable, and there are people that have bases there just so they can probably do it, because you can build in some of the edge areas where there's just an island and you can just about squeeze a base on, and some people do that. I've not done it just because, like, well, firstly, I'm not a sort of big guild or anything like that. I'm a solo, so I don't really want to waste another base just to have that, because while delirium's kind of important, it's not hugely important in the sense that, like, I can't make enough of it any other ways. Like, if you need tons and tons and tons of it, then you might want to do it in a short term as a soloer, but from a soloer's point of view, I don't personally find that I need quite as much. Not enough to justify me building one of my 3 bases there just so that I can do a delirium resource run and keep doing it with a buggy. I think there probably are other ways, and I probably already know a way, if I'm honest, but I just, yeah, like I said, I don't generally need that much delirium, and I'm comfortable just doing enough, especially now that you've got the assault ornithopter that can carry 2,000 units. I just don't really at the moment see the point, because if I do a full run with all of those on all the nodes in the actual buggy, well, not in a buggy, in an assault ornithopter, I will literally fill up the assault ornithopter and still wouldn't have actually finished all of the actual islands. There is actually something I found out recently, actually, and I hadn't actually realised this until the other day, but under about, I'd say 5 or 6 of them, there is a huge cave, and that cave has tons more delirium nodes, or tons more, not delirium nodes, but these nodes that essentially give you the stuff that allows you to make delirium, because delirium is essentially just another product of aluminium. So it's obviously, as it sounds like in the name, it's just literally a continuation of the same metal type, but you're processing it further, a bit like when you get steel and then stainless steel. Well, this is kind of like the same, just in this game we've got iron and then steel, but generally speaking you would have steel, then stainless steel, etc. Delirium is the kind of moved and more extra processed version of aluminium. So you use another kind of I can't even remember what the crystal's called, but there's off the top of my head. You take the crystal, you get this crystal, and effectively it allows you then to change the aluminium into delirium. And I am kind of most of the time not needing a huge amount of it. Sometimes I do need a lot of it, and when I did need a lot of it, then I'll go out. Last weekend I actually did a big run on the Friday to go and get a load of it, and this is when I found out actually there's caves, and I didn't realise there were actually caves, underground caves, which are quite scary when you've also got to think you get down into these caves, and I was hoping you could get deep into these caves and the radiation would either disappear or slow down, but it didn't. If anything, it might have sped up, because there's certain islands that have pools where you have this crystal growing out of the pools, and there's 3 crystals right in the center of these big pools, and generally you don't want to step into these pools of what looks like green water. Effectively it's radiated water. Whatever it is, it's level 3 radiation contamination, and your radiation level will go up way faster if you're anywhere near this water. So the closer you are to it, and while you're on the island, you'll be getting radiated at a level 3 rate rather than say a level 2 rate, which you'll get on the other islands. Level 1 rates you normally see in kind of like a lot of the big down ships. They normally have small areas which have level 1 radiation, which you don't necessarily need a radiation suit, but you certainly won't be able to stay in them long if you don't have a radiation suit. I think that's a no down there. So yeah, you need to kind of like keep an eye on this radiation. Now when you're in these kind of caves, I found the first time I went down it, I didn't panic, but I wasn't very aware of like how deep I was going into it, because I was like, well, I'm still have to kind of come back the same way, so like how deep is this? And to be fair, I went into the first cave, went down a massive hole, which I was like, oh my god, I hope I can get back out of this. Although at the same time, that's where I was like hoping as well that I might have got down to the bottom and the radiation level stopped, or it started to go down or whatever, to indicate that you're no longer in a radiated zone, but it didn't. And it was actually going up a little bit faster than it was, so I think it does actually maybe change to even level 3, which made me even more kind of anxious that I didn't want to stay down there too long. But I went to literally one area and I was like, and there were a load of nodes down there as well, and then I was like that, and then it went off into another room that had even more in, and I was just like, oh my god, it's like a kid in a candy shop. There's like tons of stuff around here. But I was like, but I was also like conscious as well. I was like, I can't stay here long though. It's like I've got radiation zone, like radiation level that I've got to be careful of, because I still need to get out of the cave. And it's not even like when you just get out of the cave, you've also got to get off the island and out of the radiated zone in the Shahar area, which even if you're out not in the caves, I've like way back when I was still only like 2 or 3 weeks into the game, I actually got killed staying there too long because I pushed the limits a bit too far, and effectively I just didn't keep a good enough eye on the radiation. Like what my old rule was back before this incident happened was, we'll get to halfway, and then when I'm halfway I'll start to think about moving back, but I won't actually go back until we start to get 3/4 of the way through the radiated warning sign. Unfortunately, I hadn't kept a good enough eye on it, and I basically didn't even make it back to my helicopter. I literally died while I was still mining. So yeah, they always say you learn from mistakes. I learned definitely that day, and since then I've obviously been a lot more aware and cautious of what I'm doing, and making sure that I definitely keep an eye on that radiating, because I wasn't too sure exactly whether or not you die slowly or whatever, but you do literally die instantly. Once the radiation level gets to its max, you die literally on the spot. So there's no kind of like, oh, suddenly I'm starting to die. It's like you literally go from full health to 0 health. So yeah, I can account for that being a painful learning experience, because what was even more painful about that learning experience was the fact that I also didn't have a spare ornithopter back then, because obviously I was only a few weeks into the game, and I was fortunate enough to have an ornithopter. I might mind have like more than one ornithopter, and it was actually out of that why I ended up having 2 ornithopters, because from that point onwards I had 2 ornithopters, because I had to get build another ornithopter so that I could actually go and rescue my first ornithopter. So that's why I've got a backup ornithopter, actually, is because of what happened on that fateful day, which, to be fair, I'm glad it did happen, because I learned a lot from it, but it also gave me a better kind of backup, rather than just think, oh yeah, I'll be fine, and if I need to make something, like I can, I actually already have something there that's like fully ready to back up and get me out of sticky situations. So we won't be too far off, I don't think. Actually, I'm not sure. We might be quite far off. Actually, no, we're not too far off. We've actually got more stratinium than I thought we had, but that's fine. Like, I need both stratinium and titanium just as much. Like, You can't do one without the other anyway. At the end of the day, we do need a slightly higher ratio of titanium than we do strontium. But at the same time, we still need tons of both. So at this stage, I'm not too worried about over getting one or the other, as long as it's not by a huge amount. Like if clearly I came back with just titanium or just strontium, then that would be of a concern, but that's unlikely to happen unless obviously someone does do a run in front of me and only leaves one or the other. Can't wait until I've got all the materials and then I can make the move to the new server. So I'll be going to Harmony as the main server. William did tell me, not William, Waylon did tell me like which stitch he's in and which stitch, well, what stitch he's currently in, and what stitch he's moving to, because he's not staying in the same stitch, which it's not actually hard to change stitches in the game. You don't actually even need the transfer tool to do that. Not realistically, you don't. Like, it's obviously easy if you have to build in a transfer tool for that, but you don't actually really need it, because you can actually just change stitches and always have been able to do so. Although not very many players realise it until, like me, you just realise it by mistake because I didn't realise mine by mistake. I just realised mine because I was trying to fix an issue and I was recommended to log in on a different stitch on my server, and it kind of helps resolve an issue that I was experiencing. So I did that, but when I did that, I also noticed that you can actually change stitch and you can still actually, because everyone shares the same deep desert, you see, once you're on a server, regardless to what stitch you're in, the stitch is just your Hager Basin kind of like instance. So effectively all it kind of really means is that you're kind of like in a different kind of instance when you're in Hager Basin, but when as soon as you go to Deep Desert, you would still be on the same kind of like map here where we are now as anyone else that's on a different stitch. It's just when you go back to Hager Basin, and that's just so that everyone has enough space when the server's full to put a base down. Is effectively what I think the design of that kind of thing is. I'm not sure if I completely agree with it in some sense, but I suppose they have to do something based on the mechanics they've got with this, because all the real space in this game really is the Deep Desert, and they don't let you stay in the Deep Desert. They want to be able to reset the Deep Desert, which is why they have the Coriolis event, which forces players to have to take their base down and then put the base back up. Now we don't lose anything from doing that, other than the fact that if you forget to take your base down, you will lose whatever it is that you left here, apart from your vehicles. So your vehicles you can recover, but you'll recover them with durability loss, but you will also have whatever the actual vehicle was had in its contents would still be there. So if you had and this happened to me, which is how I know this, if you say left loads of spice melange or whatever else you might have left in a buggy or a ornithopter, and you left that vehicle in the Deep Desert and you didn't offload it into say a container or something, when you recover that vehicle you'll get back anything that was left in the vehicle storage. Now anything obviously in the building itself will all be lost with the building itself, so you'll lose all that resources, but you will get your vehicle back with anything that was contained in the vehicle, which I was actually quite surprised when I did actually get that. And like I said, it was quite a shock when I realised that I'd actually I forgot to take my base down, because I actually realised while I was actually doing something else, and I was like, oh, I haven't taken my base down, and I was like, oh my god, I was obviously quite annoyed at myself for forgetting it, but I was also like, you know, kind of wondering what like I was going to be able to get back, because I also left all my vehicles out there, and I wasn't sure if I was even going to get them back. So I was kind of relieved when I got my vehicles back and realised I could get them back, and I thought, well, at least that's something. But then when I found out, obviously, that I had actually left stuff in one of my vehicles. So all my vehicles apart from my assault ornithopter were empty. But when I went into my assault ornithopter, and I didn't realise this until I was live on the stream, because I actually discovered it while I was live on the stream, that my assault ornithopter still had a load of stuff in there, which I'd literally prepped on the Sunday night, which I'd meant to bring back on the Monday, but I totally forgot because I was so busy on Monday. I actually didn't have a chance to offload or take down my deep desert base, because I was distracted with like a ton of other things, and it just like slipped my mind that I needed to come into the game and basically take my deep desert base down, which is why now I do it on a Sunday, because I now do it on the last day that I intend to play the game. And it's kind of like, I suppose, burnt into the back of my mind that if I don't plan to play on that last day, that I need to definitely come into Dune at the first point I come on my computer, so that I can know that it's back down. So I do take a very strong mental note on it now to make sure that I either take it down on Sunday or the first opportunity that I get where I'm sort of online on my computer, which will normally be on this like Sunday evening. So even if I've been busy during the day and I've been away the weekend, then I will pop on before I go to bed, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, just take my deep desert base down. Just because I got caught out that one time. Because the way I used to think about that as well before I got burnt by the Kronios event was, again, I was pushing it to limits. So I'd normally say, well, Monday's my latest point. And on that occasion, I didn't realise literally until Tuesday, the day after. And I was like, oh crap, I forgot to take down my deep desert base. No, okay. That's it, we're full. That's the first metal run. So we'll go empty this, put this in storage, and then we'll take our assault ornithopter, get changed into our desert clothes, and we'll either do a medium spice field or we'll find a large spice field and do the treasure hunting to see whether we can get some advanced machinery parts. Or complex, is it? No, it is advanced. Complex ones are the dead easy ones to get, and you used to be able to get loads of these like plastatium plates, which you always used to get from down ships, and I remember you used to be able to get them from down ships because I got a ton of them at one point. However, now for some reason you just can't get these titanium plates very easy. Now I think that's because people stopped actually running like other things in order to effectively get these titanium plates from down ships, because with these titanium plates you can effectively, using an advanced fabricator, a survival fabricator, make any of the tier 6 advanced stuff, which then allows you to make all of the kind of tier 6 gear. And I don't think Funcom wanted that mechanic to be used the way the players were effectively doing it. And if you remember rightly, all these nodes weren't here before, so it means that someone must have been doing some harvesting or metal mining just before we got here, because all of those nodes weren't there when we came here the first time. Pretty sure they weren't. I'm just going blind. Always possible. Okay, we have to because like that container is actually classed as a vehicle, we have to use this as our medium point. So we'll drop everything from our buggy into here, and then from here back into the container. remember when these big boxes used to make you feel like you had tons of room, but now I've got a container that does have a load of room. They don't feel so big. I do that to hold it open because you don't need the full row for it to open up a new row. But once you have one item on a row, it will hold everything else open above it. So I just like to have these gaps because I want to try and keep it all together so that when I'm actually using this back in Haga Basin, it just makes it easier to get the resource I need to put into refinement next. So effectively probably fill up all of this area with titanium, and then the same below that with, or a little bit less with the strontium. Where we are with this at the moment is probably close to the right ratio. We do need like about one more unit for every strontium unit we've got. Pull this one back up. Oh, that's not good. I've used way more fuel than I thought I would have done already. It's alright. It'll last for this stream at least. These little fuel cells, not so little, but they little when you're like burning through them as fast as I've already burned through one. And I'm about to probably burn through this because this is almost near empty, this carrier. So I best fill this up so I can carry everything back out later. As you can see, that just literally, like, this pretty much requires one or two of these kind of big fuel cells. So this will probably eat this and still want a little bit more, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah, 69. Wow. I think I'll leave that. 69's enough. We'll keep two fuel cells. Well, one fuel cell. Wow, I've literally burnt through my fuel cells already. It's alright. We shouldn't use too much more now, because now we're just going to be going around in this ornithopter. Actually, one thing I should check is how much fuel is my other ornithopter that I've got in my ship recovery tool, because if we do need to go around treasure hunting, then we're going to be in the PvP area, and if we're doing that, I generally don't take the assault ornithopter to the PvP areas just because it's too vulnerable. Let's check how much fuel we've got on this. %. Alright, well, fill this up. We get that last fuel cell. Take it with us, the fuel cell, because it's always nice to have spare fuel while we're out. It just saves us having to come back early if we were to run out of fuel. If I'm out in the scout one, like, I'm not going to run out of fuel pretty much, because you can fly a scout ornithopter pretty much without fuel indefinitely. As long as you don't have to land a lot or have to hover a lot. But if you're in deep desert, there's, other than like when you're like harvesting or something like that, actually, just remember I need to change. You're not going to be like hovering a huge amount until you're actually spice harvesting and stuff like that. I didn't put it in that one, did I? I put it in this one already. I hope I've got it with me. Yes, I have got it with me. Start to think, oh my god, did I leave that back? How evasive. But I didn't. So I tend to leave all this stuff that I depack because there's no point taking it if I'm not going to use it. There's a chance I could get like, I'm not worried about other players if we go out to PvP and if I get killed, because although it'll cause a bit of degradation, but if we get eaten by a worm, we lose our gear. Literally everything we're carrying, armor, everything, you literally get wiped out. So I tend to make sure if I'm going out to do any harvesting that I will take out the bare minimum, or stuff that I'm willing to lose, just because, yeah, if you were to make a mistake and get eaten by a worm, then it could set you back if you've got decent gear on you. And the stuff that I've got on me now is my decent gear, so at least some of it. Like these 2 items, they are very good. These aren't. These are, you know, easy enough to recover. This isn't, because again, that's top tier special items. Yeah, effectively any special items I don't really like to take out unless unless I needed to. Let's go into the proper deep desert. Firstly, we'll go around this PvE area first, just to see whether or not we can see any medium spice fields. But if we don't, then I will go park this somewhere in the PvE area where it'll be relatively safe, and we'll then change into a scout ornithopter, and we'll then go do some treasure hunting. Either or, I need both. I need everything that we're doing today is stuff that I desperately need really to finish off the base. And that's even before I start making the next things, like the treadmill that we finally unlocked the other day, literally on Tuesday. So again, another thing I want to build, but it requires a lot of spice melange, literally like probably 3 medium spice fields worth of spice melange, and it takes you about an hour ish, maybe a little bit more, to do a spice field, because, well, the medium ones, because I'm doing it by hand, or as I call it, by stick. It takes you quite a while to get through the whole field, because you're obviously disturbed as well by the worm. I do get persuaded, or have been persuaded, to do it in a crawler, which is the kind of vehicle that allows you to do it a lot faster. You generally do that on a large spice field, to be fair, but you can do it on medium ones. And obviously, if you do it on the medium ones in the PvE area, you don't have to worry about being ganked and stuff, which obviously if you're doing the large ones will only spawn in the PvP area, so you have to be doing those in PvP. And obviously you have to have a carrier and stuff like that, so there's a lot of risk involved in doing those. But players and solo players have been doing it probably for the last few months now, purely because when they changed the ship recovery tool, they changed it so that you can get your vehicle back, even if you get it back with less durability, which means that previously, if you got eaten by a worm, you would have lost your vehicle and your harvester, where now, even if you get eaten by the worm, whilst you'll lose everything that's on you and in the vehicles, you'll still get the vehicles back. So there's kind of the risk reward ratio is kind of moved in favor of players wanting to take that risk so that they can save themselves time, because there is a significant difference between going quickly over with a crawler, which will take you a matter of minutes, compared to an hour or a bit. What I'm actually looking for a spice field is I actually want to see a blowout. That would be my key indicator that there's this, like, either a medium an old Spice field, but when I logged on yesterday, which was after the reset, I did notice one that was around what looked like around this area, so I'm guessing there is actually one here, or it hasn't spawned yet, because they normally spawn in the same place. So once you've found where one is, for that week since the reset, it will keep respawning that area. Obviously it doesn't respawn all the time, so like if it's just been harvested, it might take 12 hours for it to respawn again. I'm not actually too sure what the cooldowns are and how long it takes for the medium ones to respawn. I think the large ones is once a day maybe, or it might even be less. I don't do the large ones, so I don't know, but the medium ones seem like it's about 12-hour turnaround. Because there have been occasions where on the same day I've done the same place twice. Because I've been on for that long as well, but and you noticed I crashed into a wall. I can't see those walls, not until I'm literally right on top of them. Which is why a lot of the time I will check the map, but kind of distracted at the moment. Trying to zigzag a bit because I'm not 100% sure where I noticed the blowout. It was quite far out, but I don't think it was PvP far out. I think it was within the PvE area. Because normally from where my base is, you can't see, like you can see far, as you can see back there where the wall is, but you can't see like mega far out when it comes to blowouts and things. So normally if you see a blowout from the wall, you generally will be able to stay in the PvE area, although we have just crossed the boundary now, so we must be halfway through E at the moment. E8. There's a blowout ahead, and I reckon that is actually back in the PV area, so we'll head towards where that is. Actually, no, I was just about to say it looks like it's blown itself out. If the actual bloom goes out after literally going off once, then it's actually a sign it's a small spice field. But when it stays like that, one is where it's consistent for about 5 minutes, then that'll be a medium. That's your height. Actually, there's a medium there as well. Ooh, there's 2 mediums. I'm liking it. We haven't changed back into PvE yet, which... Alright. Surprised we haven't switched back. But the fact we haven't switched back and it's not got a timer on there means that that's in the PvP area. Now, if I'm doing PvP, I don't mind doing PvP areas, but not normally near the edge, just because you're very more likely to get ganked here, because it's an easy, safe zone for people who do want to gank but then run back to safety. Sneaky tactics, I'd say, but I think that's also just outside the area. I think the one we just seen is the one I might have seen from my base when it went off. It's a little bit further out than I was expecting. Where's the down ship? Oh, let's go do the down ship. As long as there's no worm coming. Get the same warning that we get when we do any of the spice fields. If a worm comes, we'll see the warning on the worm warning thing in the middle of the screen. And we need to get out of here as soon as we can, because yeah, they will literally come and eat this ship. So if you're still on it when that happens, well, you're going to be lost to the ethos and killed, and all your stuff's going to be lost. So yeah, always make sure you check around. Like, I already did a check while I was actually coming in to make sure that firstly there wasn't worm aggro, or there wasn't a worm about to turn up to this, because I have seen people get caught out thinking there was no worm around, and then they've literally landed on the ship and literally instantly been eaten up. Kind of funny, but not funny. Three different like locker points effectively that you can get. One's always on the top, and then you got two on the side. They look a little bit different, the ones that are on the side. You've got a smaller hatch, which is the one that we just did, and then there's a larger hatch, which is just here. Especially a down ship, and I'm pretty sure I didn't see any, but we didn't get any advanced. So these ones are the ones we want, but we want the advanced version of these, which you can make if you've got plaster steel plates, which you used to be able to get from down ships, but I've not been able to get one from a down ship for a long time, so I'm not even sure you can actually get them anymore. Down ships, but you can get the actual advanced machinery parts from how I said before, which is doing treasure hunting. So that's kind of like what I now rely on to get them, but we'll need to go into the deep desert where the big field is, and then near the big fields try and find a trail where we can do some treasure hunting, because firstly, you need to find a trail, which you normally can if you just scout around the outside. Use your scanner to do that. Oh, actually, that reminds me, I don't have a handheld scanner with me. I do actually have a scanner on my scout ornithopter, which is why I've got the exact ornithopter I've got, because on my other like backup ornithopter, I don't actually have a scanner on it. So I always make sure I use my main one for that, because it's only my main one where I've got a scanner. It's not a very good scanner though. I think there's only one level of scanner, if I'm honest, for the scout, but even if there isn't, I only have like the lowest tier one. I found it once when I was like effectively like doing a testing station, and one of the resources I got for free was that couldn't have been the blowout. It's only a small blowout. It's PvP anyway. Tempted to go and do some harvesting out in the like PvP area, but like I said, I don't want to take the assault ornithopter out there if I do, so I think I might need to find somewhere to park this. So what I need to do is I'll need to put this in some shelter. So just find some blocky place that I can whack it under. I think that looks like a place I can park. Bit of a squeeze. But it will keep it safe if any storm comes along, or when a storm comes along. It's not if, it's more like when. When they come into deep desert as well, they're like proper storms, lightning and everything. Proper dangerous ones. Let's just offload anything else I don't want to take with me. Yeah, I don't want to copter out. See if it needs any repairs, and then I'll drop off the welder and stuff. Could do with a bit of repair. So every time you repair as well, like I only have a Mark 5 and I should get a Mark 6, but I do actually have all the skills maxed out for planetary or planetologist, which means that I effectively don't cause as much damage when I'm repairing stuff. So when you repair stuff, your durability level goes down. That's that red marker. And the green marker is us repairing it up to the maximum where the durability comes down to. And every time you repair something, that durability shrinks a little bit. But the better skills you have, the less durability damage you cause. So effectively just means you've got longer before you need to repair it again, but also the, you know, very long term longevity that your part has, because obviously each of these are separate, so it's not all just like one part. But I think everything's there is okay. All those wings done. Looks like it. Probably don't have enough to repair this one, but let's repair what we can. Run out of ammo soon. I don't have that much ammo with me, but like I said, you only need scrap, and you can make the wire while you're out anyway. All you need to do is just find some scrap, which is in the deep deserts everywhere, so it's not hard to get hold of. The actual welder itself, though, is looking looking like it needs a repair. That's fine. Luckily, you don't need to use it a huge amount. Keep forgetting that these have 3 wings, not 2 wings. They've done 2. I think that's most of it. Mostly heavy, healthy. Left, so we did use most of the wire that we had, and most of the life of that actually as well. Most of the life of the welder. It's the right button, but you have to kind of hold rather than do what I'm doing. Every game has like something that's a bit, I don't know, awkward to sometimes. Just it'd be nice if it was a different button. Doing Awakening is that literally opening thing. I always end up pressing the wrong button so that I enter it wrong or drop something off that I don't want to drop off. Or I'm now going to go off and find a big field so that we can try and see if we can. There's going to be a blowout there, so when you see that, that is a sign that a blowout's about to happen, because it's like a pre-effect. When that all goes off, loads of rocks and everything will come out there. Like, I've never been above it, so I don't know if it actually can cause you damage, although I wasn't sure whether a ship that fell on you could cause you damage, and it does. I can confirm, literally will almost destroy your ornithopter, or at least 2 components from it, which it did for me. And obviously if you've got any components completely damaged on your ornithopter, your ornithopter just won't fly. So yeah, I found that the hard way while I was actually recovering from the Coriolis event. I was out in the deep desert trying to farm stuff and got caught out by a falling ship that I hadn't kept an eye on. I never thought I'd need to be fair. Like, how sparse is the deep desert, and all the places I could have been, I literally was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's literally, I couldn't have scripted it even if I tried, honestly. And when I watched the replay on the video, I was like, it was obvious that was going to happen. Well, it's obvious when you knew what was going to happen, but when I actually seen in the video replay, when I watched the whole footage back, you could actually see in the distance something falling, which was a down ship. But even when you watch that, you wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together that you were actually gonna like be in the wrong place at the right time for that to exactly happen. But again, one of those lessons you learn. And that day, a myth became not a myth. It became reality. Something I'd heard was possible and I just dismissed, I found out was very true. So you can see there's like a crater. That's actually a large spice field. Now, when the large spice field, there's a granddaddy worm, the big worms, like the worms that go round, they're big, but the daddy worm, his mouth is as big as this crater. So when he comes along, he'll wipe anything out that's actually here. But when he does that, a crater is still left behind. So you always know where a large spice field will respawn at some point. But whilst it's not anything there, all you'll see is like this, which is a crater, and that's how we know where a big spice field will be when it does spawn. Obviously this one is not spawned, which is good because players who are normally mining out here will freak out when they see someone they don't know. So I'm considering I need to be near one so that I can scan. And what I'm effectively doing now is I'm scanning and I'm trying to find a marker that gives me the start of a treasure trail effectively. And when I scan, I should hopefully find the start of the marker. Now you normally do see these things near a big spice field, and I did last time I came to it, but I haven't regularly done this, and it was only obviously last time that I tried it that I actually did find it very easy and then did come across exactly what I was after. So that's why it's my go-to now, because until I can't do it, then I know this way works. There is a chance that someone could have already done the treasure hunt in this area, so they might have cleared it all out. I've got no idea what the respawn rates are on these either. But the fact I've gone around the whole thing, I've not seen one marker. Not a promising sign. Let's see if we go over and see a marker while we're actually in it. Sometimes you do get a marker like over the field somewhere. Not one marker. Okay, we'll have to move on to another one. So there are probably about 4 or 5 large spice fields in the whole of the PvP deep desert. We found one, should be able to scout around and find more of them, but they are the most limited ones. So the small ones are obviously the most easiest and hardest to get hold of. Easiest in the sense of like there's more of them, but they're harder to find because they're so small. So sometimes they're harder to notice, which is why they're kind of harder but easier. They should be easier because there's more of them, but it's not always that simple. Sometimes I get excited when I just see a flat area because that might mean there is one there, but it is a bit close to the other one, to be fair. Like, you can sometimes get them quite close to each other, but generally they're a little bit more spread apart. I'm not right on top of the wall again. I think I might be near the end. Oh no, we've still got... I can't even remember how many goes out. We are in 9 now, so we're in the final grid. At least to the east. So I don't want to go too far more east because I'll just hit that wall again. What I want to do now is... Oh, there's a spice field over there. I always find spice field. I don't want to find spice fields. When I want to find other things, I won't find it. What I will do is mark this on the map in case I want to come back to it. Because this is in a nice space where it's far enough out where we're unlikely to get disturbed. We can just mark this simply by scanning it. If you didn't have a scanner on you, you'd be able to effectively land right near it, and it will then mark it on your map. But I don't need to land because I effectively have a scanner, so that will do the job for me. Mark it on my map. Still quite far away off the wall. I think we're about probably one whole grid away from the next one. So when we change to the next grid out, which should be H, I think. I think we're in G now. H, I, G. Remember my alphabet? Yeah, whatever the last grid is. Which I don't think we're in right now. Yeah, it's I. I is the last grid? Yeah, I is the last grid. Did I just see the downship? Did I not? No, just the top of some rocks. The vision of being able to see other people has dramatically improved in comparison to when the game first came out. Your vision of being able to see people previously was pretty fixed. Like, you would be able to see barely 100 yards. And considering most people fly above 100 meters, obviously that wasn't really enough. Someone would be able to tell if you were on a spice field and see you before you'd see them. You would literally probably not even see them, you'd just see their missile killing you. That's how bad it used to be, but now you can actually see things in the distance. So you just need to keep your kind of awareness out now, and when you're actually flying around as well, again, just keep aware of what's around you. If someone's following you, that's probably a bad sign, because that would probably mean that they are trying to chase you down so they can kill you. Oh, there's the wall. Wall that I love to find. The wrong way. Okay, so if the wall's there, west will be directly off the wall. If I head a bit south off the wall towards where that field is currently going off, that shouldn't be a large spice field. And obviously at the moment I'm trying to find a large spice field because I want to try and do some treasure hunting off the large spice field to see if I can get the advanced machinery parts that I need for the next large power unit that I need to make. And it is literally that actually Spice Milan. So I actually do need Spice Milan as well, but I'm more at the moment wanting to concentrate on the advanced machinery parts because the spice is actually easier to get. And these like advanced things, they are probably going to be a couple of trips, so I'd rather try and see if I can get like at least one trip where I can get half the amount I need, do a spice run, and then come back out maybe to the same large spice one the next day or another one and try and see if I can get some more, because last time it took me like 3 days solid to try and get these things. Obviously on the final day it only took me a couple of hours because I found out this way of basically getting hold of them, but I don't like, while it worked once, I'm not 100% sure whether I was just lucky and it just did work for that day, or whether I can consistently do this and always get like what I was after with the advanced machinery parts. So it could be a bit of a hit and miss as to whether or not it's something I can rely on, or whether I might have to also do like still down ships and stuff like that, because even though the like chances are very low, you still have a chance. So if I see one, I need to do it, which I will do anyway, but I'd rather not have to rely on them if there is a better way of doing it that is more reliable. There's another medium spice field which we'll mark on the map. Now I just need to find a large one somewhere. Come on. I normally find the large ones way more regular than I do the medium ones. I've noticed recently, like, I don't know if they changed the drop ratios to the medium ones, but there do seem to be a lot more medium spice fields than there used to be. The west wall. But I'm clearly not heading west. I must have been heading a bit north as well. It had south, I think, unless I can see a field just on the west. That crater in the distance. Higher we are, the easier it is as well, so trying to get some height so that I can get a better view of the distance. There's another medium one. Wow. Luck's in with mediums. It is typical though, every time I want something I'll always find everything but the thing that I actually want the most. My annoying reality. anything that looks like a large field. This high up, you should see one if it's close enough. We need to go a bit lower because the scanner's not that great, like I said before. So its distance is about 150. So we need to get quite a bit closer. Pick it up. Oh well. Got plenty of places to get spice from. Take your pick. Just haven't got. Why when I decide one thing does it the opposite happen? If I'd actually come out and did mediums, I guarantee I would have found a large spice field and I would have found a trail off it straight away. That is the soddiest law that I always come across. I wonder if he just ate a ship. Normally see worms, but either people out harvested or something on the sand, or they'll eat a ship just as you notice it. It sounded like that worm breached, so I've got a feeling that worm just ate a ship. We put our ship in there. Oh, I don't know. Maybe on the rock somewhere. When you get close enough, it'll actually show on the minimap or the compass. I think I've only seen one big spice field. I normally see them everywhere. Well, it seems like everywhere, but there are like 3 or 4 of them out. You normally do see them so easy though, because they're so big. So when you're very high up, you normally see them from miles away. Kilometers away, or whatever you want to call it. A long distance. It must be there. That must be where we left our ship. I only say that because effectively we left it in a PvE area, so it can't be that other area that I thought. Just on the border, so it would have been an E. And that's the first crossover in E, where there's an island that we crossed over, which we only went over once, so I think that will be it. I think we'll go pick it up, and then we'll come back out. Not in it, we're going to go take the assault helicopter back, and then come back out in this. I just don't want to lose what rock I left the helicopter on. Because when you put a marker down, you can only put one marker down the map, and then you lose the last marker you put down. And the current button I've got to set markers is actually a button I use for other things as well, so sometimes I do knock it by mistake. There's the helicopter anyway. Yeah, I've seen 2 small spice fields as well. All the stuff that should be harder to find, I'm finding. It's annoying. Rocket launcher. I must have picked it up when I was ransacking that ship. When you ransack that ship, you get like these random items, which I've got on me now here. They were picked up because we got that down ship. Because you do normally get like gear out of those ships as well. I find it really annoying that it keeps placing it in your holdout, because I sometimes don't notice that it has, and then I'll wonder like, where's that come from, and then not realise, oh yeah, that would be come from the down ship. A lot of times I've ended up wearing a helmet that I've not even realised. When I look at my infantry, I'm like, where's that thing come from? I didn't make that. I didn't even put that on. It's because you've looted it. And it just puts it straight on your infantry. What would be nice is if I found a nice like medium spice field here. The advantage of that is when we're in the assault ornithopter, we can carry more, so it means less trips, where the scout ornithopter in a PB area is safer, but you also have to then do more runs back and forth to empty it. There's a down ship. It would be cheeky if we didn't do it, as long as there's no worm around. Worm indicator, please. Come on. Doesn't look like it's not safe, so. Go for it. 3 hatches. One per side, one on the top. Just so annoying, the buggy. Try not to use the too far away. The only thing is, with some of these positions, when they crash, the ships crash, some of the actual hatches can be really high. So if you put your ornithopter next to it and you're on top of it, you'll be a lot closer and you'll find it easier, where you can then still scan it and cut it, because you'll be on the right distance. But the only other way you can do this is by being on top of it and doing this, which is actually fairly awkward. Once you've cut it open though, you can actually just climb on it and still loot it whilst you're climbing, which I didn't realise that you could do this. Again, one of those things you kind of learn by mistake, and I was like, oh, you can actually still loot while you're climbing, because normally you can't do anything while you're climbing, but when you are climbing on these, it does still let you loot it, which does make sense, because I was trying all sorts of ways of trying to loot them before, like trying to get my ornithopter in weird positions so I could still loot while I'm standing on my ornithopter. But as you can see there, it's like that would have been near impossible with that one. And it looks like this has been already, someone's already tried to loot this, because that was unlocked and I've not cut that open, so someone's already been at this wreck. Obviously didn't like what they seen and didn't bother looting it. I'm surprised they didn't open any of the other containers though, so they've just looted one side and not bothered with the rest. A bit weird. They got scared off by something. Another blowout over there. I wonder if that's in there. That looks actually quite favourably. That might be in the PV area. That. So I can see if it is. Worth going for if it is. Although it could be maybe that one we're already at previously. I doubt it will be, but it might be a new one. It could also be a small one, like if that dissipates fast then it will be a small one, but if that stays then it will be medium. It's just about then how far out it is. We're in D here. We're heading almost directly for it now. We're heading more east than we are anywhere, so I think that is actually, I think that will be in PvE area. I'd be shocked if it's not. So we're not heading out fast enough and we're in D, so I reckon that's about here, probably. I reckon it's about there. Definitely in PvE area. That's one medium spice field we found, which is non-risky. Well, I say no risky. It's risky because you still got worms, but less risky because it has no players that you have to worry about. Just worms you have to worry about, which are actually worse, but at least it's only one thing you have to worry about rather than two. As long as no one's farming it. Is it still blooming? I would expect no one to be farming it. I'm also on an American server, so we're not really in American time zone yet. We've still got like another few hours before the Americans start to properly get online. Definitely got a medium one. And it's definitely in the PvE area, so it's looking promising as long as there's no player there. So I don't really want to farm with another player there. I don't like it when someone else comes to my field. I don't mind it, but I'd say I don't mind it as long as they're wearing soft step boots and not aggravating worms every 2 seconds. When 2 people are farming on a medium field, even with all the mitigation, you still tend to aggravate the worm easier than just one person farming. But this looks clear, so we are good. That's fresh field, waiting for us to farm it. What we need. First farm of the day. Spice at least. So just take that. Offload as much as I can. It's heavy. And keep all those stuff on me. It's gonna be a bit of a juggling act because we've got stuff from the down ships that we've picked up as well. But at the end of the day, the Spice Milan is more valuable. So, and all the stuff that I've got there that's still useful to have, because you'll always need these things somewhere down the line. I don't need them right now, so if I need it be, I'll just drop them. You can always get more. Most of these resources aren't like uber rare. The ones that would be uber rare is if we had the advanced machinery parts. We haven't got any of those yet, so everything else, other than actually there's some irradiated cores there. They are actually very useful, and we need them just as much as we need, probably in some ways we need them more, because they're actually, you can only normally get them from down ships or from the actual crash sites. So they're very specific, but again, they're probably still easier to get than the complex machinery part, or not the complex, the advanced machinery parts. Oh my god, will you stop trying to pick up the fucking thing and pick up the pile? Keep causing worm aggro. Unneeded worm aggro. Really starting to annoy me now. I'll press the button. I have like my little like joystick thing that I've got that normally I turn my character off with my thumb, has decided to give up again, even though I tried to glue it back together. It's come off while we're on the stream, so it does feel a little bit awkward to control my character at the moment. I think I need to try and get a new one, or just get used to how it feels without like the thumb joy on it. Some players like it and some people don't. Like, I've just learned to always have it, and I really like it. Now I don't have it, I don't like it as much. But I would get used to it over some time. It's just trying to get used to it, I guess. I think that's literally right under my ship that I cannot get to it. I have to move this. Very first time, the worm won't come for quite a while, but after that it'll feel like it comes all the time, and that's just because you're building up aggro for the very first time. But after that, even though you do lose the aggro when you go in the air in your ornithopter, it doesn't like 100% reset in the way like it did when you came here from the very beginning when there was no aggro. So you still hold some aggro even though it's reset. So the worm does come back faster after the very first time. Feels like it's going to come soon. I can hear it rumbling. It's not going off the aggro, so there we go. It's like it's due any minute. Feels like it should have come away ages ago. It always feels like that at the start, and then from there on after, this worm here will be wanting to come back all the time, every fucking 2 seconds. That's what it feels like. It's most disturbing when the worm does what it does now, so it kind of cycles through the area you were just in. But then when you after you land, it might come back underneath the actual area that you're in, and it's quite freaky because the first time it happened to me, I wasn't sure whether the worm was actually coming to eat me, but it won't as long as the aggro meter is not going off, which it won't do straight after the reset. You have to kind of rebuild the aggro back up again, but it's still a bit freaky. What if it just suddenly decided to start freaking out and it's underneath you? They've changed the mechanics quite a bit now. So the worm, when it breaches, sometimes it would breach at different distances to where you are on the spice field, where now it will breach further away. They actually changed that mechanic because players complained that sometimes the worm would come right up through where they were, and they changed the mechanics a while back, sort of like 2 or 3 months back, where previously you as long as you weren't like by the mouth of the worm, you wouldn't necessarily be killed by the worm, where now even if you touch the worm will kill you. So the mechanics have been changed around the worm, mainly because some players were kind of bugging it out, messing around with it, and the developers didn't like what players were kind of doing because it was causing things to happen that weren't really accounted for. So they made it so that you couldn't mess around with it, and made it so that the worms are just deadly dangerous and just don't mess around with them type thing. So yeah, because of that, and then obviously some of the worms sometimes would come up almost through the field. It could kill players when it was just breaching, even though it shouldn't do that. It should kind of give the player a warning first, and then kind of go for the player. So they changed it so that it spawned the worms further away from the field, which is good as well, because they also changed before that mechanic the time period of which a worm will come to you. So way back when, at the very start, worms would also come to you, and they would normally take about a minute from when they breach to come to you, where now they'll come to you at different random times. So sometimes it'll sprint to you, it will literally breach and go back down to the sand and come at you straight away, and sometimes it will come at you slow. So like time period of which, like when the worm comes at you, is randomized now, and it's done like that to make players react straight away, because at the very start players just wouldn't react to it when it first breached, because they knew they would still have loads of time to get to the ornithopter and get back into the air before the worm would attack. So they would carry on doing a bit more harvesting before going towards the ornithopter, where now you have to just go towards your ornithopter because you don't know whether it's going to be fast or slow. Although you can look at it like that and go, well, that's going to be a slow one because you spent ages in the air, where if it was a fast one, it would be up, and before you finish looking at it, it would already be back in the sand. Then you know it's a fast one. But you better be by your ornithopter if that's the case, because it will literally shoot across the sand just as fast. There is a down ship over there as well, which I'm tempted to do, but the thing is like, it's going to take up valuable space for my spice sand. I know I'm going to have to do 2 runs to like empty this field, but I don't know, is it worth it? Like, there could also be like the complex machinery parts I'm really after in it as well, which makes me even more tempted. And I kind of want that more than I want the Spice Land at the moment. Only because I know they're harder to get. I think I might just leave a little bit more room in the ornithopter, and once we fill up the ornithopter, I'll head over there and see what's in it. Because it's only just crashed, so a worm shouldn't eat it for like a while. I'm not too sure like what the rate is between like when it crashes and when the worm will come and eat it, but I reckon it'll be at least half an hour. I just go over there in a minute. When the next worm comes, I might worry about it. There's a MMORPG over there. That the desert rat or mouse. Rat. Little mouse. You can actually shoot them if you've got a gun on you. And you can get the mouse body or corpse. You can't really do much of it other than sell it, but too many tall wants to buy it. Like, I don't think there's actually any like crafting you can do with it. I used to think, like when I first started the game, that you could actually have one as a pet, because some players do have them as pets. But I found out that was just a pre-beta thing, and it's not to do with catching them, because that's what I thought you could do at first. I thought you could try and catch one and have it as a pet. It'd be nice if they did do that, but unfortunately that's not the case. That was a beta item for anyone that played the beta before the actual game actually came out. Let's go and do this shipwreck, because I am tempted to find out whether or not I can get the sought after advanced machinery things. That one I'll have to do from kind of off the ship, but there is the other type of hatch you can sometimes do from the very top. That didn't have any advanced hatch. Get the ship. I think it's just there. What's on the? That's the small hatch. So I must have the one I must have seen on the other side must have been the dummy small hatch, because there's a small hatch on one side, then there's a larger hatch on the opposite side. This is the small one, so there must be a large one on the other side. It's full. Deep. You do get scrap from these as well, so the scrap, don't ever forget to get rid of the scrap, because you can get scrap anywhere, and the scrap you get from this you must just like dump. Soon you realise what the pile is that's using up all your inventory space. If you're also wondering how you land on top of your ship like this, effectively, if you're on the ground, you will always end up below your ship. But if you effectively go like slightly hover the ground above the ground, and then go to exit your ornithopter, you'll always end up on top of your ornithopter. So if you wanted to help players do end up on top of their ornithopter when they're actually landing, it's because they're just slightly off the ground when they do it, and that means that they'll be on top of the ornithopter as they're exiting it. One of those things that took me a little while to work out, because I couldn't work out why sometimes I would be on top of the ornithopter and sometimes I wouldn't be. But that's how you kind of guarantee it. It's just being slightly off the ground when you're getting out. Dump what we've got on ourselves. We'll have scrap in here, so I must have scrap in my ornithopter. Yeah, 500 of it. We'll dump that. Basically, fucking trash. It does have its uses, don't get me wrong, but other than when you actually need it, it's trash. It's literally the lowest tier item, well, lowest craft item, and the easiest thing to get hold of. But yeah, in crash ships, you get tons of it, and it's probably the least time you want it, but you have to pick it up because it's in and among all the other stuff. So it's a case of like picking it up and then dumping it as soon as you remember, firstly, because half the time I remember, I forget that that's actually the thing that's taken up so much of the inventory space. But then when you do remember, yeah, just work out where it is that you dumped it, whether you put it in your ornithopter like I just did, or whatever, and then dump it on the sand or wherever it is you are. Assuming you need to free up space, because sometimes if I'm just doing down ships, then I might be able to do the full run and not have to get rid of it. But there's a number of times I've not realised that I've got tons of it and I've got all the way back to my base, and I've had to leave stuff in the down ship, and then realised that actually a load of my actual inventory space was being used up by literally salvage, which is awful to hear when you've left valuable stuff behind and you could have dumped that stuff to put stuff that you actually could have had usefulness for. So we are at 9 o'clock. On a Thursday and a Tuesday, we do stream earlier from 7 till 9. And that's mainly because I also do the gym during the week, and the 2 days that I do it during the weekdays is on these days. And I do the stream earlier so that basically I still have the motivation to go to the gym. Is probably what it is, because when I found that when I was trying to run a stream later, I was kind of sometimes using the stream as an excuse not to do the gym. So I changed the times around a bit to encourage myself to always do the gym on the days that I'm supposed to be doing it. So we'll do what we can do here, and then I'll probably be calling it a day once we fill up the ornithopter with as much spice as I can carry. And then we'll pick up again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be in GTA Online. We have got new missions. God, come on, go the right way. So the new missions we've got this week, I'm not actually too sure because I haven't actually checked my research guy who normally tells me what the bonuses are this week, but I will find out before tomorrow's stream, and then we can go through what those actual bonuses are. Hopefully they're better than last week, because last week, as you'll probably know already, I wasn't very pleased with them, or at least it was doing stuff that I wasn't really that interested in normally running, so I didn't really spend much time in the game as a result. So hopefully this week they are better, so that when I'm doing the stream, I've firstly got content we can do and burn through, and you can see what it's like with GTA Plus and how it kind of helps you with the bonuses and stuff like that. But also I get more enjoyment out of it when it's like in things I like to do rather than stuff that's less interesting or the bonuses aren't so good. Like last week I felt the bonuses that were available were just in areas I just don't generally play in. Oh my god, I'm just got rid of a pile. It went over it underneath us. Got rid of my pile. Now it's bugged. See, that's what happens sometimes. The worm will come underneath you. You know it's come underneath you because all the sand rises. Nearby, you can hear it kind of whooshing around, as well as obviously going underneath us a minute ago. Oh, that's a fast one. I wasn't far away from my own helicopter, and that was already back in the sand before I even took off. And there's another. Is that another one? Was that the same one? No, I think that's the same one, isn't it? I can't tell. What direction was it in? East. Yeah. I suppose the sandworm hasn't taken it out. I always thought once one has already been like ransacked, the worm normally follows quite far, not that far after. That's why if you spend too much time at them, the sandworm will come. Same sort of thing though, it's just aggro. So the longer they're there, the more aggro builds up. But with those, the aggro's building up anyway, regardless to whether you're there. Because the sandworm, regardless to whether anyone tries to loot it, at some point will come along and eat it. Which is why you have to be careful that you don't go to it and not notice the worms being aggroed and about to eat it even before you land. So that when you land, you get eaten with it. What I mean, like, for the very first time when it took a while to aggravate the worm, it wasn't that long ago since we last aggravated it, so it becomes like the aggro doesn't kind of drop off as fast as you sometimes like, and it becomes easier and easier sometimes for the worm to re-aggravate. We've obviously got all of the stuff that keeps the aggro down as low as we can. Other than the fact if you did this like in a crawler, the crawler has near no aggro. It does create some aggro, so you still wouldn't be 100% safe. Unless you're on a large spice field. Now on a large spice field, the aggregations are all different. But on a medium or small one, even in like deep desert, you're still in a crawler aggravating or creating aggro for a worm. But it's way better than if you were like in Hagar Basin. So if Hagar Basin, pretty much as soon as you land, a worm is already eyeing you up. As soon as you like step off onto the sand, that's like probably the first part of the major aggro, and then literally once you've done like 2 blasts, even of something that's got lowest aggro possible, the worm will be aggroed and chasing you down. Like you'll only get halfway through a small spice field, and the worm will be kind of aggravated and be coming after you. That's very fast though. Although it's taking a while to get over here. Come on. Oh, he was going after that. Oh, he's just taking out the ship. Oh, that's not good though. Because does that mean my aggro is going to reset or not? That's the only thing, when you got a down ship that's so close to you. I've just gone for that. But we know that there was aggro in the area because of either that ship or for me and that ship. But there is no aggro warning, so it's... yeah, as long as this warning in the middle, where the aggro is now, and it's slightly bouncing, as long as that doesn't go red, we're alright. Like I said, even if the worm goes under us, as long as that's not going crazy and red, we're safe. Even though it's a bit disturbing when a worm's going underneath you. Bit of midnight spice mining. That worm's kind of groaning. Wabib, a little mouse rat. Oh, I keep saying rat to mouse. I do mean mouse. Desert mouse. There's no down ship. We seem to be right in the middle of down ships and Spicefield, which you'd think was good, but I've been hit by one of those down ships, and I can tell you, it does a lot of damage. So I really do hope that it does not land on me, one of those down ships while I'm here. So the last one was over there, that one's there. We must be in like prime zone of like things happening, like Spicefield, down ships. I like this area. It's kind of a bit of a risky area, like so much going on here. Can only mean danger. What happened to my little pile that didn't appear? You're also wondering why I put my ornithopter on the very top of the hill. It's because when you put your ornithopter on, say, the side of a dune like this, it will just slide down. So you're kind of best putting it somewhere where it can't slide down, and normally ridges or on the very top of the spice mound or dune, it'll normally stay where it is. But if I put it like in the centre of this, where there's no ridge or anything, it'll slide down. So it won't stay in place. And if you want it in a particular location, because obviously I need it in a good location for when the worm comes, so I can get to it and get up easy. Then you kind of want to make sure your ornithopter is where you want it and not sliding down some dune. Why is the ornithopter's not full yet? Hi, how you doing? Sides Quest, how you doing? Heading out today, doing some spice harvesting out in the deep desert. Well, that and down ships. There's a down ship over there which just crashed literally in the last 5 minutes. But I'm more interested in the spice at the moment, even though I do want a component that's potentially, or has a potential to be in it. I'd say unlikely. I'm not actually convinced anymore that they actually do, or still we can get complex machinery parts from down ships, because I've just not seen it one in months from a down ship. The amount of times I've gone on down ships and I've not seen any means that I think they've changed where you can get them from. Worms male or female? I think it could be of a gender of both. Although they do call the big worm the granddaddy, so that would suggest there are male or female worms. To me. Oh, not full. I am surprised. Considering we've got so much stuff in there from down ships as well, I'd have thought it was closer to full than it clearly is. Parts. You can tell I'm quite obsessed as a not completionist, but I do like to when it comes to spice fields, I do like to make sure I clear the whole spice field, including the edge parts. So if I start seeing stuff that I've missed, I can't believe I've left it. much of the spice field we've done. Normally you can only do 3/4 of the spice field even with a completely empty assault helicopter, so that's why I'm like, oh right, we've still got that bit of space left, because it feels like we've done almost 3/4 already, so theoretically we should be full, but at least very close to it. Maybe we've done about half of it, or just over half. I suppose it's always hard to tell, especially very high up, where you can then clearly see how much you've done. But you've probably done just over half. What I find weird now is, I did notice it there on one of those piles, but the piles on the edge now, even though they might only contain 1 or 2 units in, the piles still look big, where ages ago they didn't. Depending on how much spice sand was actually there, would dictate on how big the pile was, not just how big each kind of, like, because I think this is basing it now off the actual compactor that I'm using, which does create large piles, but it shouldn't create a large pile if there's only a small amount of spice sand there, and it never used to, but it seems like now all the piles look exactly the same size, apart from the odd time when it looks a little bit smaller. It used to be like, if there wasn't only like 1 or 2 pieces of spice sand in it, the pile would look like the smallest little piece of sand ever. The smallest little like pile. How where it should be light anyway, because effectively the highest concentrate is always going to be in the center, and as you go away from the center, the concentrate just massively drops off. So even though I'm doing the edge because I just like to make sure I get every little gram I can, realistically if I was doing this efficiently I wouldn't, and I would just do like the center like a lot of players do, because I see it as waste. I kind of like try and do it all, even the edges. Like it doesn't take that much more effort, but it isn't necessarily the most efficient thing I could do. You know, I can only get 1 or 2 units from this. So how many did I get from that? 34 actually. So that's not actually bad. Like plus 59, but that's not just, that's like plus what previously we got up. So that's gone up by 50. That's gone up by 50, so we're getting actually quite good amounts even in the like lower areas, but in the center you might do this and you'll get like 100 to 200 maybe out in just one go, just because it's so more dense in this very center in comparison to these very light areas along the edges. sometimes you go to an area like this that looks more dense, but sometimes you get less of pile. Also, it's messed up at the moment because I would have thought the edge area a minute ago would have hardly had any in, but it seems to have way more in than I was expected. Enough to do a spice run by itself. I've actually got I'm only actually about 1,000 short from actually having enough spice land at the base anyway, in Hanger Basin, so I might drop this stuff back and put a run on before I go to the gym, and then when I get back put another run on. It takes about 45 minutes for a large spice refiner to do a batch. And obviously we can only put batches on the large spice refiner when we've got 10,000 units. So the larger the spice like refiner you have, the more kind of spice land you need to even put on one batch run. The large one, obviously, you need 75,000 water as well, which is the most efficient as well because it's just better all around for efficiency. In comparison to the small one, you need half the resources, both water and spice sand. So while even it sounds like 10,000 units of spice sand is a lot to get 200 spice melange, you need double that to get the same spice melange if you were doing a small one. So, and when you get a medium one, it's not halfway, it's literally only 25%. So there's a big difference between the large spice refiner and the small one, and even the medium one. So you want to get on it and get that large spice refiner and make that your highest priority, even before doing other things that you could use spice melange for, apart from maybe like a medium storage container, which they obviously are very useful, and they only take up 2 spice melange, so it's not going to hugely dent you, but certainly make sure that you prioritize the spice melange towards getting your large spice refiner, and obviously doing it in a deep desert as well before you can afford to make it in Hager Basin, because you only need half the resources to build anything out here in the deep desert in comparison to what you need when you're building in Hager Basin. Oh, we must be halfway through because that symbol is the symbol that shows in the very center of the spice field before you start on it. So the fact that that's clear where that is and it's all clear on the other side means we're over halfway now. And look at this as well, there's not much left. Like, we are definitely getting more of my ornithopter than I was expecting to. I think it's going for that over there. Because I haven't got the aggro. I was still next to my helicopter in case I see something heading towards us. But I think that's going to go and get the down ship. Yep. That's right. It'd still come this way though. That's one thing why I'm a bit uncomfortable seeing downship so close to where we are, because we've got twice the chance of it coming towards us. Well, it feels like it's twice the chance because the worm's going to be aggroed by, or get aggro from that downship, as well as like us being on a spice field. Probably see another downship soon because that other one seemed to pop up and crash there literally within like 5 minutes of the last one that got eaten up. So I expect to probably see another downship. Hopefully not landing on us, but coming down soon. very regular based on that last one. If one does come down in 5 minutes, then we know this is a very good spot for down ships. Once you identify an area that has down ships, they will regularly spawn there. And that I already knew anyway. Not quite as regular as I'm seeing at the moment. Like, I thought it was a bit more kind of random than it is, but I generally do kind of like farm the down ships anyway, and I do tend to go back to the same spots, but I normally leave it about half an hour to an hour before I go back. From what I'm seeing now, it looks like they spawn a lot faster than what I thought they did. Just remember to drink water. Something I always forget in this game. It takes warnings to go off before I actually notice. I'm going to move it anyway because that worm's a bit overdue. It wasn't aggroed, but it's not aggroed at the moment because there's no worm aggro showing, but it's never great when you see a worm go so close to you. And you're on the sand trying to harvest. Maybe that might have reset the aggro a little bit. You used to be able to a while back, be able to reset the aggro just by coming off the sand far enough. So you'd about to use your suspender belt. And some players used to do it rather than getting an ornithopter. They would just basically use this suspender belt to go really high, and that would reset the worm's aggro, but they changed the mechanics so that that wouldn't reset the worm's aggro. So now you actually do have to be in an helicopter in order for the worm to aggro. It's not just based on distance, which is what I think it used to be based on. Should have enough room to pick up this at least. I don't want to kind of leave sand piles behind, so it's now a bit of a judgment call about how much more I pick up. Like, I can basically carry on until the next worm aggro, or I get close to full on what my character's carrying. Have enough room for a couple more. Just one more. One more pile out of this. Yeah, 171. I don't think we'll get a full pile out of the next one, so I'd rather not waste it. We'll call it there. We've pretty much wiped out that medium spice field. There's only like a quarter of it left, not even a third. Pretty good going. So we'll head back now to the deep desert base, and then when we get back there I will be calling it off the end of this stream, and we will catch you again tomorrow. We'll be streaming it tomorrow in GTA, so if you're a big GTA fan, we'll be in GTA tomorrow doing our normal gathering. Well, not gathering. Gathering's this game. We'll be doing our money rounds and running our businesses. I'm not too sure what the bonuses are this week in GTA, but I will find out before tomorrow's stream, and we will then go do whatever bonus is running for this week, which effectively runs from today onwards, but the first day I get to see it is on a Friday, because Thursdays are my Dune days. But yeah, we'll do whatever it is that we're doing, as long as it's not rubbish like it was this week, because this week I was rather disappointed. This week it was nightclub stuff, which I actually thought would be good, but it just ended up being trying to get a cell, and the cells were supposed to be worth double than what they normally were, or at least elevated, but I actually thought they were just normal. I'm not actually convinced that it was definitely a nightclub bonus week. There was definitely a discount, because I took advantage of the discount and got 40% off my final upgrade, which was equipment improvements. But other than that, I'm not sure actually there was anything in the nightclub. The cell didn't seem any better than it normally did. So I suppose I'll find out when I go to do my next cell, because I'm just going to let it fill back up and see whether or not it's any better or it's the same, because it's going to be probably the same, because I wasn't quite full, but I wasn't far off it. Whether it's around the same or whether it was better this time than it is the next time I go to do it, when there definitely isn't a bonus on. But yeah, this week I thought the incentive to do different content wasn't as good as it has been in previous weeks, but we have been spoiled in GTA of recent weeks, because we've had the mansion that came out, which was a nice feature they brought out, which all the veterans and people who've played in the game for a long time have wanted. Obviously I'm not one of those, but I appreciated what they've done, because I had been listening to what the community was after, and had been what I'd noticed a lot of posts about over the years, from posts obviously from years old, and it felt like what I'd seen people had been asking for, they'd pretty much fulfilled and gone a bit above and beyond, if I'm honest, although there were still some people who were not as happy as they could have been, because they said that there wasn't very many new cars introduced. There's always going to be someone that's not completely happy. You're never going to please everyone, and you're never going to give everyone everything that they're after. That's just life. But I think they did pretty well, if I'm honest. For a game developer, fulfilling what the communities are asking for and things like that, I thought they did a really good sterling job, considering obviously GTA 6 has also been delayed till next year, and I'm hearing also that there are further delays. I'm not sure if that's just rumour or how true that is. So far as I'm aware, properly, it's been delayed till November next year, or this year. Say next year, we're already in 2026. I don't think it's been delayed any further than that from anything officially I've seen, but I have heard rumours that it's delayed even further beyond that. So I suppose I will find out as things go along, and whether it's just the rumour mill that's spun that up, and how true that is, nobody knows, I suppose, until Rockstar Games decide to tell us if they are going to delay it further, but who knows. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us today. Do consider subscribing if you do like to follow the content and be notified the next time we go live. Like I said, the next time we will be going live is on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We will be streaming again over the weekend as well. For those people that are on any of the main platforms, which is YouTube, Twitch, Kick or TikTok, you will be able to get the unscheduled ones, those that are on X or Facebook. Unfortunately, because yours is just so hard to spin up, you can't get any of the unscheduled ones, because I actually have to go out my way to put a schedule in and set it all up extra, where these other ones I can literally press a few buttons and hey presto, those streams go off a lot easier. So If you do want to catch any of the unscheduled ones, do follow us as well on any of the other platforms, and you'll be notified and obviously be able to join those as well. But if you're happy with just going the scheduled ones, help yourself to whatever platform you want to be on. I don't want to dictate and tell people to go to different platforms if they're happy being on their platform and watching it there. But you will see better, higher content, higher quality on some of the other streams. So it's up to you what you want to watch it on. Try them all out and see what you like the best. But thank you very much for today. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great evening. I will catch you tomorrow. Good night.